Hi and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do the fabric version of this awesome reusable straw case. It's all done with fabric and it's turned with no raw edges. Everything's tucked inside. There's no sewing by hand to close it. It's all done with a special turning and the way we lay the fabric. So it'll be really awesome way to learn how to do this. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Any suggestions, questions, down below. You know what to do. And to let you know, the straws, I picked up these off of a wish.com is the name of it, or there's AliExpress. You can check your prices on them, scroll through and double check because some are colored. Some have 6 in the pack, some have 10 in a pack. They have different prices, different things. This one I think was like $1 and then $2 shipping. And I usually get a bunch of different things at the same time, so everything kind of adds up and helps in the shipping when you buy more things. But these are the reusable stainless steel straws, and I got them from wish.com. So I will be back with all the information we need and measurements on this fabric case for the reusable drinking straws. See you at the cutting table. Alright, we have our material set. We have our hoop, and this is going to be your 11-inch or higher hoop. The pattern is going to be 11 1/4 for your fabric, but the actual pattern itself is only a 10 1/4, so you still need your 11-inch hoop. With a fusible, lightweight fusible stabilizer inside, cutaway. So the fusible part will be on the bottom of your hoop. We have our batting, or we can use a polyfill project fleece, which is what I got here in the bag. It is a polyfill project fleece. I've done all the calculations for this bag, how much it would cost at regular price, but I never buy anything at regular price, always with a coupon or sale. And if it was at regular price, we're looking at 3.5 square inches per 1 penny. So 3.5 square inches per 1 penny. So it didn't cost much for this polyfill. It's about 12 cents for this piece right here. Sorry, this piece is the polyfill. Or there's the batting, which is the really thin batting. And I actually will actually tear that apart too, just to get a little bit of, you know, enough in there, just a little bit of fluff. We don't need a big thick piece of batting, so I'll cut it in half, or I mean tear it in half for that. So I'll use one or the other. I'm probably going to do 2 in the hoop today, but I'm showing with one of these. I'll probably use the polyfill project fleece this time. We also have our fabrics. We have an inside and an outside, or you can use all one fabric, one color if you'd like. So I've chosen an outside and an inside. My first piece will be the 11 by 3, ironed it flat. Second piece is the 3 by 18, which is 3 by 18. I'm going to fuse a piece of the 808, which is a type of stabilizer. I have it right here. I will show it to you. It is the Pelon 808. It is a fusible medium type weight stabilizer. That's just going to give it some stability for the case. So I've actually ironed that on, and I folded this piece in half. So this piece will become the 3 by 9, and this will be our pocket. Then I have the 3 by 7, which we're going to fold this in half as well. This is our inside liner. So this one will be folded. It's going to be the top of our inside pocket liner. And then we have the other part of our liner, which is going to overlap. And this piece is our 3 by 8 3/4. This project is, like I said, all in one folded. There won't be any seams. Just cut it out, and we're going to unfold it and then just put a snap on it, and it'll be ready. There's no seam to sew up. There's no seam at the bottom we need to heat and bond or anything. It's pretty cool. It'll be all in one. And it'll be just enough for our straws. Have my sheets, and we'll see you at the machine. Alright, have my directions with me to follow along. Have my pieces. Everything's ready to go in the hoop, and my pattern is in my machine ready to go. So my first step is to set up my frame. Wasn't ready on that part, sorry. Alright, And I'm going to use white thread so that you can see the contrast on it and where we're sewing our lines. So stitch out our first placement stitch. Alright, we have our placement line. It's really hard to see here, but we have our placement line. And I'm going to go ahead and put my batting down first. Oops, sorry. So place the batting on top, line it up so that it's even inside there. Those are not the actual sewing lines. The sewing lines will be inside that. So that's just our guide box. So make sure we're inside that box. And I'm going to set up my fabric. This will be my outside piece. So if it's directional, you'll want to make sure that the top is going to be here and you'll have it facing the way you need it to. Alrighty, and I laid it down. Sometimes I use a batting spray, basting spray to keep it down, or a tacky spray, but right now I don't think I need it. Put it back in the machine, and we're going to stitch out the outline to hold it down, and the stipple, and the top flap fold line. So all three of those will be stitched out now at the same time. Alright, and we're now going to place our folded piece. This is our 3x18, which was folded to a 3x9 that has the piece of the 808 fused inside. And fold it over with a nice crisp fold at the top. We iron that one in. And if you want any certain side, the side that has it tacked to, that would be the side I want up. Or I'm sorry, that's the side I want down, because that's going to be the outside part of my pocket. So I want to make sure the fused side is facing the stipple side. And our little marks are just a tad bit below that center line that we sewed. So you want to line that up. Make sure it's even on all the sides. And then if you want, you can tape it down, or if you trust it to stay where it needs to, but I'm going to put just a little bit of tape. I know it's not going to sew across there, so I'm going to hold it there so I know my lines are straight. And I'm going to tack it at the bottom. So I'll show that again. Right here we sewed our fold line. This is just to help the fabric fold over to make the little flap for the pocket. And right below it you'll see the two little tack placement lines. So I'm right below it, right on those placement lines. Tabs, lines, placement marks. There we go. Pop it back in, and it's going to sew our pocket all the way around for us. Okay, it also sewed for us our spot where we're going to put our snap. So that's a spot there that'll show. And then it did our two little placement lines again. So it marked two spots. This one didn't pick up very well, but you can guide from the one how far down you are for the other. And this piece we're going to put down is going to be our folded. This is piece number, or letter C, which is the 3x7. We folded it to make a 3x3.5. We want the folded edge, and we're going to place it with our rough edge up at the top of our case, and that folded edge right on our placement lines, placement marks. Same thing. We're going to so let me take that piece of tape off. And I'll do the same thing as tape this one down too. Alright, I think it's longer to put everything on than it is the stitch time. This is a quick thing to stitch out. And I'm going to place that there, and it's not going to sew it down or tack it down, but it's going to give me 2 more tack spots to do the next piece. That was not good. Alrighty. So it actually gave me 2 lines where I'm going to place my next piece of fabric. And we're going to go ahead and take the tape off of the bottom of the pocket, and we'll keep it up at the top. And this piece of fabric, no specifics of, you know, top, bottom. You just want to make sure. This happened to be a fabric that was good on each side. So when we folded that piece, we wanted to make sure the good sides was out. I forgot to even tell you about that, sorry. So when we fold it, we're making sure that the right side of the fabric is out. And then this next piece, depending on, it's going to be your inner pocket, the inside. So we want to make sure that the good side, or the right side, is facing inside our case. So good side facing down. And we're going to line the top of it up on those marks and make sure it's flat all the way down. And I'm going to tack the bottom, right at the bottom. It's going to go all the way around our next stitch out is going to be the complete all the way around it. So I want to make sure we're good on this. And we'll put it back in the hoop. Alrighty, and our next one will be the full stitch all around to tack everything down. There we go, and we're all set. Finished. Did our tack down all the way around. You're going, yeah, but you got no place to open it or turn it. But we do. That's what's kind of cool about this design, the way it was done, is there is a way right here to turn it. And once we get it out of the hoop, and I will cut it and trim it. So I'll meet you at the cutting table. Alright, and we're set. I would have normally done a second one in here, but I'm going to cut this out so that I still can use this part. So I'm going to use my my rotary just to get it cut out for a minute, and then there we go. And I can still use this part. I can just put it back in the machine. It'll hold up for just the fabric. Put it to the side. Alrighty. So these are what we're going to use. I've got my picking shears, my turning tool, our straw, a hand one. I also have my foot press that I'm going to use, the big, large table press, but I actually put it on a stool. So I'll probably eventually show that. I think in one of my videos I actually show it. And then our awl. So we're going to trim around with our picking shears and make sure we clip our corners good. Okay, now for the tricky part. So you have this, we can crunch it to get it to go soft. And we have our spot in here, which is how we're going to turn it. So, excuse me, sorry. We always start with the top edge and we roll outwards. We don't want to try to take the bottom and shove it through. So top edge, take the sides and start to roll it out. A lot easier that way. It's a little tight, but we'll get it. And you don't have to worry about wrinkling or anything. You're going to end up ironing it to get the stabilizer to adhere to the lining. Okay, so you've turned it and you've got one piece here and you're like, well, wait, what just happened? So this piece now, you're going to go ahead and pull it through. And this is our top part. We'll go ahead and take our finger and make sure our corners are nice and pushed out with our nail. And you're going, well, that still doesn't look right. Well, you're right, it doesn't. This is our liner and this is the inside. So if you want, you can press it now and it'll actually adhere to the iron-on stabilizer that we used, and this is our inside. Here's our pocket. So you're going to turn it one more time to get it to come out. This one should turn pretty easy. And use our stick to help. Once it gets towards the end, it's pretty easy. There you go. And there you go, you've turned it. You have your stipple on the outside, your other fabric. It's going to fold over. We have our little fold over line to help it fold, and so it's not going to crease up on us. We would go ahead and iron it right now. I'm going to go to the ironing and I'll be right back and show you how to put that snap tab on. Alright, all iron, nice and straight, flat, the lining attached to the stabilizer inside so it's not puffing. And if you take a look, there's no seams, no raw edges, everything's perfect inside there. So let's see if we can see that again in there. See, nothing. You can't even tell. So you should iron it before you actually turn the pocket out so that the liner is flat and straight and adheres before you do it, because it's got a little ripple in there. So my advice is to iron it before we actually turn the pocket. So, all right, we're ready to attach our snap. So we're going to do the top part of our snap first. And we'll attach that. And before I actually put the other part on, what I'm going to do is put our, I usually do this for any kind of case. I always put the item in the case that's going to be going in it, just to know where the bulk comes, so that when we do our flap, we know where it should meet. Because if we did this flat, we may make it lower and it's not going to close properly, or it's going to struggle to close. So I always put the item in. Make sure it's in there, and close it to a comfortable place that it would close. So just in case they want to add more than one set of straws in there. So I close it down. I kind of give it a push a little bit to make an indent so I know right where it's going to go. And then I'll go ahead and put the awl in there, remove our stuff, and we'll go ahead and set this in here too. Goes. Cut right out our hole. There it goes. Whoops, that stuck to my finger. There we go. That's the one, and here's our other one. So I'm going to do my top one on my press real quick, and usually the top or the flap or the tab always gets the male in my case. So that was my foot press. And then this one won't fit in my press. This area is too small, so I have to use my hand press for this one. Line it up, get it inside. I use the edge of the table, so to give it a little bit of leverage, push it down. Make sure it snaps, make sure it's not going to come apart. I do it a couple times. I'm pretty rough with it just to make sure. And there we go. We are all set. I did not put my tag in this one yet, but I will, and I'll figure out how, and I'll show you on the next one if I do, or put it in the instructions. And it closes down. Snap, perfect. The straw fits in it. It's washable, it's fabric. The fabric one, I figured out pricing is a little more expensive than vinyl because we're using a little more fabric than we do on the vinyl. We're only using a short piece of vinyl. Here we're using a doubled over fabric and another piece doubled. So my cost for this without the straw, we're looking at $3.63. So it may not be feasible. I don't know if your clientele will want to buy a higher price. You may find less expensive fabric. I always buy remnants, and I kind of judged everything on the high side of everything. So you may find it cheaper somewhere. So we have our straw case. Everything goes in it. We're all set. Snap down. And yes, we're all good. This is the fabric reusable straw case done by me. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. You'll get more YouTube videos on more of my products and other people's stuff as well. And tips and tricks here and there. And ring that bell so you'll get more information, more notices. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being here and watching. Meet you at the cutting table.